What do you recommend guys do in the off season to stay sharp and get ready for next season?
Once again, probably just, maintenance on the decoys, your equipment, make sure everything's nice and fresh. For us too, if you know the areas that are going to be consistent, again, work on blinds, make sure the brush is good as it can be, or just probably having areas that you're going to cut your brush and your material closer once it gets about August, September, right before season starts. And then if you're just getting into duck calling or goose calling, just put that call in your truck, or your car, wherever, and practice it. That way you're not bugging your friends or your wife or kids or whoever else. You're just you and yourself in there and just practice so you get those certain calls down. And just, you get wrapped up in summer activities and other things, but, the more homework and the more scouting and preparing you can do in the summer when it's those birds and those ducks aren't in that hole. Maybe, there's an area that they're liking to land, but it's real difficult as far as the hide or cover. Go there in the summer and take a machete or weed whacker and cut it all down and make a little homemade blind, shift blind there with old hog panels or just, some burlap or something to get it ready so that when the season comes, too, that natural vegetation will grow up around your blind and it looks super natural. Therefore, you don't have to do so much work when it comes to season.
Yeah, and I want to go back to the calling thing because, I know a lot of guys, it takes a lot of practice, and I'm better at calling in coyotes with either howls and yips and barks or a wounded rabbit, but than I am calling in ducks. But, I know the way that I got decent at that was by practicing, and largely how I practiced is I would go watch YouTube videos of professional callers, and then I would literally sit there and watch the video, pause it, and then try to mimic the sounds that they were creating. And just by practice and then, getting out in the field and actually deploying that practice and seeing it work in action, I think it helps you build confidence, and I think most importantly, that's really the key. Is just that's largely what calling really is more than anything. It's just having the confidence to know that you're making the right sounds, you're doing the right things, and then from there, with experience, when you're actually out in the field and you're watching the ducks and you're seeing how they react and how they behave, that's only going to further that confidence once you see it work, and then before you know it, you're a pretty good caller. So. Those are some great tips and great advice. Definitely blinds are a thing. You definitely want to plan it. I know here in Wisconsin we do a lot of whitetail deer hunting too, and right, you're always planning. There's always something to do in the spring and the summer and getting ready for it. And the same with duck hunting or any type of hunting. You just got to be ready for it and get out there. So I appreciate that. Bo, what would you say to inspire those listeners who maybe had a rough year this year?
Man, number one is just don't get discouraged. It's hunting. I just got a phone with some other guys this year in Colorado that have been having a very difficult time goose hunting. And these are some outfitters that I know that are pretty solid, but every year is a different year. Every year hatches are different. Weather patterns change, the migration. So just look forward to next year. I mean, if you went out and just had bangers every time, it wouldn't be that challenging or that fun. So just keep your head up and just look forward to next year and be as prepared as you can. And maybe stretch out your area. If you're only, I go to this one reservoir, be like, you know what, I'm going to go drive the next, half hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, a little bit farther east, west, north, or south, and scout a different area. Maybe I'm going to put that on the map and give it some time. If it's the closest spot is really where you like to go, just be like, well, next year I'm going to dedicate 2 or 3 weekends to that area and see what I can do. Because even in our business, when I'm duck hunting, I scout probably a solid 50 miles up and down the river to just figure out where the birds are. And any given year, it changes, conditions change. So just stick with it, and persistence pays off.
Awesome, man. Greetings, everyone. Eric Wilkes here, and I have on the line with me Bo Davis from Bo's Outdoors out in Northeast Colorado. Bo, what'd you see out in Colorado this last couple weeks?
Man, we actually had one hell of a hunt. It was probably, to be honest, top 2 or 3 hunts of my life. We still got birds here. The weather's been nice, but this particular day with clients, it got windy and snowy, and they were out feeding in the corn, and every single duck that went out and fed came back up the river. And for probably 3 to 4 hours straight, we had birds anywhere from 20 to 150 doing it for 3 hours straight. We shot 30 greenheads in a matter of probably 45 minutes, and we ended up, clients left, me and the guide stayed, we shot ours, and then also filmed for another hour and a half, taking stills and just filming, and it was absolutely incredible. So that right there just proves, I mean, now we've got weather here this week. It's going to be in the 50s and sunny, and it's not going to be very conducive, but right place, right day, scouting, and with weather, it came together. So we still got birds, but with the warmer weather, they're definitely getting a little more savvy. The mallards have been traveling up and down the river on a slower day if they're in their pairs, singles, small bunches. They're not really super responsive to the call. So therefore, it's more about location and just, if they're interested, really soft quacks and just maybe some feeder calls to get their attention, because otherwise, it being January, they're really getting smart at this time of year. So if we can get on weather, we've still been hitting them, and we've been having some really good hunts, but it's been really weather dependent.
Sure, yeah. But that sounds awesome. I mean, it sounds like a lot of fun, and it's always great. But that's what keeps us coming back too, right? You get that one day, and it makes your whole year, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's why I hunt, is for that one day. So that's awesome. Sounds like a great time.
Exactly. To have that too, though, not only but have clients in there, when you do it for a living and they're paying you, and it's my business, and right, they're staying at the lodge, and you're trying to create an experience of a lifetime, and it happens. You just got to thank God. I mean, it was honestly one of the most epic hunts I've had. And I've been waterfowl hunting since I was 5 years old. I'm about to be 40, and to see that and experience, and then just have clients see it, it was special. It was special.
That's pretty good. Well, that's my next question, and you probably have already answered it. But looking back at this season, what's been your favorite moment so far?
That was it, hands down.
I figured.
I mean, I'm not, Eric, there was probably, we probably seen 7,000 to 8,000 mallards in a matter of 2.5 hours.
Wow.
And out of those 7,000 to 8,000 mallards, 6,000 of them were trying to come to the decoys in
awesome.
waves.
Wow.
Consistently for 2.5, 3 hours. It was absolutely something special. And we're talking, we're hunting on a river that's like, the sucker's probably at max 25 yards wide.
Wow.
So they were getting in there and they were doing it, and it was just, and where we're at is 99.9% mallards. And the amount of greenheads that were there, I mean, we shot 30 greenheads with zero hesitation, and yeah, it was special. That was just one of those that was special.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty neat. And I know you hunt with dogs. What's the importance of that in your neck of the woods, hunting along the river?
Yeah, as we discussed, it's pretty critical for me, especially on that day when we have a bigger group in the blind. When you're knocking down 5, 6, 7 birds, if you're lucky at a go, it's critical to have those dogs. One, being on the river, they're steady to shot, but when you get on the river, a little bit of that training goes out the window, because you really want them hitting the water hard to get those ducks that are going down river. So being to have a good dog that will sit there and just not waver, and especially wait till the shot goes off at least. So, my dog is trained that even if those birds are landing in the decoys, even at 15 feet, they're going to sit there. They're tempted to break, but even my little 2-year-old, He knows through training not to go till the shot. Well, having 2 dogs mark those birds, especially going down river, really saves me a lot of just leg work and frustration, because probably as any other hunter, I can't stand losing birds. I like to, once we knock them down, get our birds that we harvest. Just being ethical on that. So having a dog be able to retrieve your game is huge. In my professional hunting career, I've never not had a dog. It's my leading next one, but I run yellow labs because I do a lot of waterfowl and upland. And I run both dogs on either side of the blinds. Outside the blinds, we're really brushed up, and then just have those dogs mark and get those birds, especially because if you get cripples or on the river, not all of them are just going to be dead. So being able to have that dog get those ones that are trying to swim away, is really helpful. Or if they get one, then to go down river and shoot a cripple, have them retrieve that one right to your hand and then send them on the next one rapidly. It just puts more birds in your bag, especially with pheasant hunting. For us, for upland too, as well, as right, if you get a wounded or a crippled bird, to have them track that thing down in the grass or the cover and not lose it. That's how they earn their keep with me.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I'm the same way. I got my first hunting dog, gosh, he's 6 years old now, and he's a German short hair. And I'll tell you, I did a lot of upland hunting when I lived in Arizona, and living out there, same deal, right? Whether you're duck hunting, whether you're upland hunting, it's almost vital to have a dog, especially in those high brush areas. A lot of times you shoot a bird, you shoot a pheasant or a chucker, or if you shoot a lot of out west where we hunted wild quail, and it's a smaller bird, and those you shoot them on the side of a mountain and they roll, and if they're crippled, good luck. They just blend in so well. It's really important to have those dogs and have those noses for upland, and the same for ducks. A lot of what we did out there was along the river as well, and out there the rivers move a little bit swifter, and because of flash flooding, snow melt, and all these other factors, the water levels fluctuate, and a lot of times they can fluctuate very, very quickly, almost like a tide coming in. I've seen it go up 3-4 feet before in a matter of minutes. And when you're shooting ducks and you're dealing with that swifter current, it's very, very important to have a dog to make sure they can retrieve them before they're just gone and disappear, like you said. It's really pretty crazy how fast it can happen, too, if you're not paying attention. So having those dogs mark them is essential to retrieving your game. What do you, and we're kind of moving into this dog related content moving forward over the next couple of weeks, but what do you look for in a good dog food?
Oh, to be honest, I'm terrible about that. I really, I just go with what my dogs are happy with. I've had a dog, too, that has bad ear infections.
Mm-hmm.
My one lab, Hemi, and I tried all kinds of different foods. And a lot of the ones that are just focused on the rice and pure meat and less ingredients in it, a lot more healthy stuff like the gluten-free stuff. And he was still getting them. So that's just an acute illness I think he's got. He's really susceptible to them. Otherwise, I just roll with Purina. I mean, that ProPlan stuff is pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just kind of your budget and kind of what you want to, what you're comfortable in spending and what it is, because each dog, on my example here, is a little bit different. I literally tried probably 8-9 different foods there and was, solid about months at a time trying that food, and he was still having these just ear infections. So I think it's kind of, the big ones are that Purina Pro Plan that's pretty solid, and Eukanuba's really coming on strong. They're doing a lot of campaigns and making good dog food. To me personally, I think it's really just what works for you, because you can spend a lot of money on some dog food pretty quickly there.
Yep.
And depending, if you've got a bunch, right, that bill can get pretty hefty.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you have more than one dog, it can really go up pretty quick, and especially during the season, because they're typically eating a little bit more just to help with recovery and things like that. So, it really is important, and, I appreciate the feedback. So, Bo, once again, sincerely appreciate your time and sharing with our fans and the people that follow us. We greatly appreciate you having you here. And I know the season's kind of winding down, duck season and goose season at any rate, but how do people go out and connect with you? How do they book a hunt with you?
Yeah, check me out at www.bozoutdoors.com, or you can email me at bozoutdoors@gmail.com, or feel free to call me at 720-320-2313. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram. You can check out videos and pictures from our hunts. And if you got any questions or inquiries, feel free to contact me either way.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Bo. Appreciate it. And thanks, everyone, for listening in, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Sounds good.
Greetings, fellow duck hunting fanatics. Eric Wilkes here, co-founder, and I wanted to take a moment and personally thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. If you haven't already done so, make sure you click the link just below this video to go ahead and subscribe to our channel so you get all of our future updates and future videos that we release.